Hi everybody, I'm Amy from the Cauldron, and in today's episode of Dye Time I'm going to be dyeing approximately 100 grams of unspun fibre. This has been washed and scoured, but there are still bits of vegetable matter in this. You can see that's not a problem, but this is ready to spin. So we're going to be dyeing that. I don't know what the fibre is, it's just wool. And the dyes I'm going to be using are frozen, sour apple and silver grey acid dyes from Dharma, and violet acid dye from DT Craft and Design. I'm going to be using these in powder form. So I've got my gloves on, I've got my mask on, and I've got this towel down to protect the work surface. And we're going to be using the sun as our heat source. I think I'm going to start with some frozen. Now all the equipment I'm using is dedicated for dyeing. I don't use it for food. Just going to sprinkle some frozen down on there. I think that's probably too much, but oh well, it is what it is. Add a little bit more, and I'm going to go into the, did I do sour apple, or I think I'm going to go with violet next. I'm using a different spoon this time. There we go. I think that'll be enough. I can always add a bit extra once I've added the water on top. I just picked these colours at random. I've got no idea how they're going to work together. I think I'm going to go in with the silver grey next. And put that on top there. And then finally go in with this sour apple, which I absolutely love, but I don't really use it that much. There you go. I'll leave it at that for now. I'm just going to pour in a little bit of water. This is just plain tap water at the moment. Oh, that sour apple is travelling down. That is really cool. Can't see any of the other colours. I know this looks like a lot, but it will compact down. Just give it time. There's a lot of air bubbles in here. Oh, I can see a little bit of violet on the side there. Oh, you know what? I've just realised I forgot to add my acid. Silly me. So I've got here some vinegar. 1, 2. Go with 4 tablespoons for now. Whoa, did I go overboard with that sour apple? I might have done. That is dark. Oh boy. Give it a good poking down. Add the last of that water. We're going to use the sun as our heat source for this. So this is going to go sit in the sun for probably about 3 days. I don't think I'm going to get a chance to do anything with this until next week. And then we'll come back and heat set this on the stove. Hopefully we'll have some yarn that is not just green. See little bits of blue, maybe. Definitely some blue there. This is going to be interesting. This has been sitting in the garden for 3 days now. It's been quite warm, but I'm not sure. Yeah, you can see, if I put my fingers in there, you can see that there is still dye in this liquid. Yes, as I was saying, it has been warm, but yesterday it was really rainy, and I'm not sure how. This obviously didn't get enough heat. You can see there's quite a lot of that blue at the bottom. What blue did I use there? Oh, I can see purples in there. You see that sour apple at the top. This is really pretty. I'm really happy with how this looks. Even if this fibre does stick to me. I'm going to add some more water to this so that I can heat set this in a low immersion style. Actually, this might be more full immersion than low immersion. I want to give this fibre plenty of space to move. You can see there's quite a lot of dye. Maybe I used far too much powder. I'm going to give this a very healthy squirt of vinegar just to really help things along. And hopefully having it in low immersion or full immersion like this won't, the dyes that haven't set, that seems to be the blues, don't overtake all the greens and purples here. Fingers crossed. So I'm going to go move this over to the heat and heat set it for at least 30 minutes. I'll come back and check in on it in 30 minutes to see how well this has cleared, and then I'll make judgments as to whether I need to heat it for a bit longer. This has been simmering away for about 40 minutes now, and I did cover this. I don't actually have a lid for this tray, but I've got two trays that are the same, so I can always pop one tray on top of the other to use as a bit of a lid if I need to. You can see there's a bit of dye down here, nowhere near as much as there was 40 minutes ago, but there still was a hint of blue there. The other places look all right. Yeah, I think it's just that little bit of blue down there, so I'm just going to give it a little squirt of vinegar, and I'm going to leave it on the heat again for probably about 15 minutes now, just to try and get those last blues. This has been on the heat for an extra 20 minutes, and it looks like that little bit of extra heat, a little bit of extra vinegar has helped the fibre to absorb that last bit of blue, which I am so happy about, because I really hate throwing dye down the drain. And it looks like the rest of this is good too. Looks like that water is nice and clear. I'm so happy with this. So I'm going to now turn the heat off and let this cool down completely so I can wash it. This fibre has completely cooled down now. So I'm just going to pour out this water. It does look like there is a bit of blue left in there. But that is just the tiniest hint. I'm not worried about that. Very carefully move this into this pan of, into there. There we go. I don't want to agitate this fibre, so oops, I'm not going to have water pouring onto this. I'm just going to let it soak. Maybe I'll add a little bit. Should have added a bit of washing up liquid beforehand. So I'm going to try. Oh yeah, there's a lot of blue coming out of that. Disappointing, but that's okay. That's fine. I can work with that. With this fibre, I'm not too worried about the bleeding, because I am going to card this and spin it. So once it's spun into yarn, I can wash it a little bit more there. I mean, you still have the felting worry when you wash non-superwash yarn, but it's not quite so bad as when it is like this. So I'm going to just pour out the water, trying not to lose any little bits of fibre on the way. I didn't add any soap this time. I'm just going to let this sit in the water. There is still more blue coming out. I'm just going to let this sit in the water now to let it soak. Hopefully gets rid of some more of that blue dye. I'll change the water a few times to get rid of all of these soapy bubbles. Then I can let it dry. And once it's dry, I can spin it. And once it's spun, I should be able to give this another little wash and hopefully get out the remaining dye then, once I have spun this into yarn. And here is the beautiful fibre, all nice and dry and ready to be hand carded. You can see that green has sort of gone everywhere, but we've still got some lovely blues, and there are some pops of purple in here as well. And I think this just looks beautiful, and I'm going to try really hard to keep the sort of blues together and the greens together when I card it, so I don't get an average of all the colours. I get the different colours in there. Got my hand carders now, and I'm going to put on an episode of Charmed and sit there and card this beautiful fibre into something that I can spin. And here is my lovely big pile of fluff, all carded into Rolags and ready to be spun. I tried my hardest to separate the colours, so I've got the greens over here, I've got the blues here, and sort of in the middle here there's the mixture of the greens and blues into these lovely colours. There are some little patches of purple, but there really wasn't much fluff with purple on. But I tried to preserve what purple there was. So now I'm going to go spin this into yarn. And here is the finished yarn. I tried really hard to separate out all the colours so they didn't all blend together. So you can see I've got sort of a darker blue strip there, sort of a more greenish blue here, and you can see how it's sort of how I've wound it on the other side. This is where all the greens ended up, and you can see more teals throughout. It does go from the blues to the greens, and I think it looks lovely. I did end up heat setting this again because when I soaked it in water, a lot of green came out. I think I must have used far too much sour apple. It's not one that I've ever really used that much before, so I think I might need to just be aware that it could be a bit of a bleeder. I steam set it again, so to try and keep all the colours separate, and I think I managed that. Oh, just noticed there is some sort of purples there as well. There wasn't really that much purple in my Rolags, so it's quite nice to see that there are strips of purple in there. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Do please click like and subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this video. What do you think of this yarn? Do you want to see more from fleece to fibre to yarn videos? Let me know down in the comments. I publish a new dyeing tutorial every Monday, usually around 6 PM UK time. And I do like to do different things in my videos, so make sure you've got notifications turned on so you don't miss any new videos. Thank you so much for watching.